Hello, ladies. Welcome back. This week's episode of Our Ladies Bible Study is going to be called Spilling the Tea. And if you guys have heard the younger kids talk today, spilling the tea is all about getting the dish, the gossip, the juicy information, the details in which we're not necessarily needing to be privy to. I want to start off in Proverbs chapter, I'm looking at my notes, 11 and verse 13. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is faithful, he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter. Meaning, if you go around telling other people's business, you're a tattletale. If you don't, then you're faithful to maybe not just your friends, but to God as well. Why is it you're keeping it quiet? You know, if a detail doesn't need to be given, don't give it. Let the person who the detail belongs to give all the details. I have learned this lesson the hard way. When I tell you I've gotten my face bitten off for sticking my nose where it didn't go, not kidding you. That puppy hurt. Like a lot. But here's the thing. This is the lesson I take from that. I don't mind being told it's none of my business. And nowadays, if I have a question that would be considered nosy, I say, I have a question. If you don't want to answer it, no problem. No skin off my nose. And then I ask my question. This gives the person in front of you the opportunity to be like, you know what? I really don't want to share that information. Especially if telling you isn't actually going to help the situation. And if telling you isn't going to help the situation, then you don't need to know. As a pastor's wife, I am often told things that maybe I'd prefer that I didn't. And that's okay. And as a pastor's wife, my husband gets told things regularly that he can't tell me because it's privileged information between him and our congregant. That's the word I was looking for. And I'm okay with not knowing all the details. If a lady's involved, I'm often there. I'd rather be in a corner not knowing what's going on. But sometimes he would much prefer for me to be there. And so because of that, I have had to learn that I need to just keep my mouth shut. I don't need to be telling somebody else's juicy details to somebody else just because I can and I know about it. Now, sometimes this looks like I need to talk at Matt. Sometimes this looks like me and Matt are discussing it because maybe he doesn't know what to do and he's wanting my opinion and I'm wanting his opinion. Hey, honey, I want to do this. Should I do that? But should I do that or should I just be quiet and just stay over here? More often than not, the answer is I need to talk about it with him because he already knows all the details. He was there listening to the details from the person that said it. And that allows me to talk about it and then forget about it because it has nothing to do with me whatsoever. And if me talking to somebody else about it isn't going to help solve the problem, then I'm in the wrong. I'm guilty of gossiping. Have I done this? Yes, I have. Is it bitten me in the butt? Many times. Thankfully, not as a pastor's wife. I learned these lessons before, and it's because it's painful. It's hard, and when you betray somebody's trust like that, it is absolutely heartbreaking, and it's painful to the person that you betrayed their trust of. We have to make sure that what we're saying is going to help improve the situation in a matter one way or the other. Now, you ladies that get told things in confidence, that you're sitting there going, don't know what to do. Get your husband. Go talk to your pastor. Or talk to your husband about it. But make sure that whoever you're talking to, that's where it's going to stay. And you know who those people are that you can and cannot talk to without it being repeated. You see who those people are. First off, who's the one that's jumping on the phone right after somebody leaves? Hey, did you hear? Probably not the best person to call. Now, if it's your best friend and it's something good and exciting, sure. But if they're going to gossip to you, it's probably safe to say they're going to gossip about you. So don't pick that person. If it's somebody that you have watched and they sit quietly in a room and take it all in, but they never gossip to you, they never say anything bad about somebody, then maybe that's your person there. But you want to be very careful. You know, we all have that one person in our life, if you're lucky you have more than one, that is willing to give us advice. And as long as that person is giving you the right advice, then that's the person that you need to talk to. And chances are, you're not asking the people for advice that is going to turn around and repeat it to somebody else. And if you are, might want to stop that. Trust me, you'll thank me for that later. I have had to learn that the hard way as well. You know, and another thing that I'm learning here lately is that even though I'm not doing it, or I'm trying not to do it, I also need to not be listening to it. Because by listening to it, I'm encouraging the one that's doing it to keep coming and telling me about it. And I don't need to know about that either. You know, that's something that it can color your view of a person, especially if it's false information. We all know at least one, probably more people that like to embellish a story and tell you more than what they should, or more than what actually happened, just for the sake of it looking better or sounding better. You know, and that's not right. So what do we do when this happens? You know, or what do we do if we are that person? We're going to go to Proverbs 25, verse 9 to 12. It's several verses. However, if you think about it and you chew on it for a little bit, you'll see that there's a lot here. Debate thy cause with thy neighbor himself, meaning go talk to that person that told you. Don't go telling nobody else. Go talk to that person there. Okay? And discover not a secret to another, meaning don't go tell anybody else, lest he that heareth it put thee to shame. They're going to turn around and make you out to be the bad guy. Even if you're not trying to be the bad guy, you're going to be the one wearing egg on your face. And thine infirmity turn not away, meaning you're going to be labeled the gossip, even if that's not what you were trying to do. Okay? A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. As an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover upon an obedient ear. So, and be sensitive to God on this one. Because some people are going to listen and hear reproof and others aren't. And they're going to react badly to it. And God will tell you when to say something and when not to. You know, say Jackie comes over and no, there's nobody in my congregation named Jackie. I'm making up names. Say Jackie comes over and goes, hey, Betty. I don't have a Betty either. You'll never believe what I'm trying to think of a name. Beatrice over here just told me she is filing bankruptcy. And you look at Stacy and go, hey, no, that's not something you should be repeating. Let the lady have her own private things. If she wanted us to know, she'll come tell us. What did you just do? You reproved Stacy for telling you what it is that you don't want to know. Or, maybe Jackie comes over and says, hey, Michelle, did you hear this? Stacy is having marital troubles. I'll look at her and go, if she wants me to know that, she'll come talk to me about it. I don't need to know anything at all until she comes and talks to me. What did you do? You told her you don't want to hear that. And eventually they'll quit coming to you. Now, what does this also do? Say Jackie's whispering in your ear in front of a group of like 30 people and you go, I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that. If such and such wanted me to know that, she'd come tell me. Now you just told everybody around you that this person's a gossip. They're embarrassed. And they should be. We don't need to be telling everybody else's business. Trust me, it'll bite you in the butt. It has me on numerous occasions. If I can spare you that pain, I want to. Because if verbal lashings left permanent wounds, your girl would have had to have facial reconstruction about 4 times. I can't tell you how many times it's bitten me in the butt saying something I shouldn't have said, whether on purpose or accidents, besides the point, about something that I had no business being a part of. Now, let's say somebody tells you something, and they're telling you in absolute confidence, and you're sitting there going, I might have some wisdom for that person there that she's talking about. It can prove useful. You going and talking to that person that she's talking to because maybe this person over here is pouring her heart out because she has a burden for this one over here. That ain't going to solve the situation either. But maybe you do have some wisdom to glean from this situation. Go to that lady and say, hey, look, this is what you were talking to me about. And this is what it is that I have on my heart about it. You tell me if you want me to do anything. Until then, I'm going to sit and be quiet. Maybe you go home that night and you didn't get an answer one way or the other, which is usually how that works. And God's like, write it down. Write it down. Stick it in your Bible that you should be reading every day anyway, taking to church with you every time the doors are open, and you should be handling it every day. And that way, you always know where it is. It is there whenever you need it, if you need it. Now you've officially done something, and you're waiting for your number to be called upon if it is. I tell you what, guys, I have found myself in that situation this year, and I carry a 5-page letter around with me every day. And I'm still praying for the phone call where I hear Michelle, guess what? The best thing just happened. And I didn't have to get involved and do anything at all. All I had to do was just listen. Because that means for once, I've managed to not stick my nose in a situation that had nothing to do with me, even though it was just like looking into a glass mirror. I can see where somebody's headed when that happens, but they can't. And maybe you find yourself in the same situation. You want to do something, but it doesn't involve you. Go write it down. Don't let anybody else read it. unless there's no details in that letter whatsoever, then maybe. My husband hasn't ever read this letter. Like, he knows what's in it because he knows his wife, but he's never read it. He's never asked to read it. Neither is anybody else that knows I have it. That being said, I put most of it on Facebook. Now, there's way more details in this letter than I would ever put on Facebook, because I'm not going to spill my guts to the internet if I don't have to. Sorry, my kid's outside and I'm trying to see why. Maybe I don't need to know all the stupid little details. Maybe neither do you. The world has painted us Christians as hypocrites and whatever else because they've seen too many of us fall and fail. And even though when all the things that I did were done before I was ever saved, it would take is for one person to see or read and say, see, they're all the same. They're not going to give room for before and after. I can see the emails that I sent then, and I think to myself, not good. I stuck my nose in every single problem because I knew better than anybody else did on how to solve the problem. Nowadays, when there's a problem, I look at my husband and I'm like, why? And I try to stay out of it. I might talk to him about it. I might talk to a close confidant that lives in another state. Because, my closest friends that I will tell everything to, 2 out of 3 of them live in another state. Another one's old enough to be my mom. And she's not telling anybody anything. And I know that. Now, the ones that I seek advice from the most live in other states. One of them's another pastor's wife that I glean as much information from as I can because, hey, guess what? Our husbands can go to college for that kind of thing to be a pastor. But there's no college course that's how to be a pastor's wife and what to do when you get there. Because nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to be a pastor's wife when I grow up. All right, maybe they do, but I definitely didn't. And if you haven't watched my testimony video, I urge you to do so because here's the thing. Yep. Nope. Pastor's wife was nowhere near anywhere I thought I'd go. In high school, I didn't want kids. I didn't want to be married. I wanted to be an over-the-road truck driver. Oh, by the way, I had a mouth to go with that too. Mouth and an attitude. Not a good combination. And there are times people go, you're a pastor's wife. How does that feel? And a lot of times, depending on who it is, I'll look at him and go, still choking on that one. Because it's such a big gap. By the way, I have 4 kids. I went from wanting no kids to I have 4. And I wouldn't mind another. I like the babies. Babies are cute. They're cute. They're cuddly. I don't like the poops, but you gotta take good with bad. Okay? And so spilling the tea isn't biblical, not even close, and we need to guard our mouth and our minds from it. And we need to try to find ways to, even if it's somebody sits down and starts going, hey, did you know, and there's maybe like 6 of you having a hen party, just get up and leave. Because don't make a scene. Don't announce your exit. Just get up and go. Pretend you got to go to the bathroom. Pretend you want to drink. Pretend your 4 kids are running amok and you need to go deal with that. You have now excused yourself and removed yourself from the situation without any drama whatsoever. Or You walk over and you hear that's exactly what's going on. Sit down, say, hey, ladies, how are you? Man, I am so worn out from this week. And start asking them to pray for something that's going on in your life. Because maybe you've got a lot going on that they already know about. And you're not telling anybody anything new. You're definitely not telling them anything that they don't need to be told. Because they already know about it. You told them. You're definitely not gossiping about somebody else. And these are ways to give you outs. Now, the person gossiping might be thinking, she's rude. Or they're not even going to notice that you switch subjects on them. I have seen it play out every which way you can imagine. And I'm here to tell you what. It's kind of cool. Because the busy Nancy, probably not even going to notice. They're just going to go right into the flow of the conversation because they want to be in the middle of the conversation. They don't care. They don't care. And eventually they're going to stop coming over to that hen party to spill the tea because they know it ain't going to work. And eventually they might just stop because it's not getting them anywhere anyway. I've heard of people hanging up. Oh, I got to go. Click. Not even a bye, it's click. It's not happened to me that way, but I've heard stories of people doing it because they want no part of it. It just no. So that is where I'm going to leave you today. And I hope you guys have a great morning, and I will see you next week.